For today's cup of coffee, we have a story that has been submitted to us by our very own beloved Joe Schmoe. And he's another one that grew up having supernatural paranormal experiences. And so I'm hoping that this is going to be as healing for him as it was for me. So this is what Joe has written. I was raised by my grandmother and grandfather. My grandma exiled my grandfather to the lower level of the house, the basement. Of course it was the basement, due to his alcoholism. He drank every day because he had cancer and was dying. I guess the alcohol was his painkiller. Grandma put locks on the doors and would go play bingo. She literally locked us in the house. While Grandma was gone, Grandpa and I would sneak out of the window and head to the liquor store to pick up some beer, and he would get me a Mountain Dew. One night when Grandma was at bingo, Grandpa said to me that if I ever told Grandma that we were sneaking out, the boogeyman would come out of the closet and get me. So, being 4 years old, I really believed that. Grandpa died soon after, and it was just Grandma and me. After his passing, Grandma, a German native, took me to Europe to hang out with relatives for like 4 months, I think. I spoke German, so it was no big deal. When we got back home, it was business as usual. I would go to school, and Grandma went back to work as a hairstylist. Literally, lather, rinse, and repeat. I was 7 years old and remember one day vividly. Grandma and I were in the kitchen and were arguing over something that I don't remember. There were stairs that led from the kitchen area to the basement. I said to her, with intention to deliver a heart attack, "See, this is why Grandpa and I snuck out when you went to bingo, so he could get drunk and not have to deal with your attitude." Only I said all this in German. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 3,600 seconds in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 days a year generally. After I said what I did to Grandma, in the roughly 220,750,000 seconds I had been alive on this earth, at that exact 1 second, a big slam came from downstairs. Grandma grabbed the .25 caliber, and we were off to see what and where the noise came from. In my grandfather's room in the basement, the closet door had swung open and hit the wall behind it so hard that the door cracked. In that 1 second in time, it all came back to me. I had told the secret, and now the boogeyman was coming. I told Grandma it was the boogeyman, and what Grandpa had told me would happen and why, and she just told me to shut up. That was the first day a shadow came upstairs from the basement. I told a couple of my friends about what happened, and their response taught me to not say anything else about the incident. But there were times I had friends over to my house, and I would see a shadow, and whichever friend was there would say something like, "Are you sure your grandma is at work or bingo or at the store? Are you sure she isn't in the house?" When I would ask them why, and they would say something like, they either heard someone speaking, saw someone walking around, saw a light turn on or off, or some other strange event. I would just flip the conversation and tell them that their mind was playing tricks on them. I didn't want to lose more friends or have new friends know about the experiences. Some odd occurrence would happen better than 90% of the time when people came over. Eventually, friends stopped sleeping over at my house around the time I was 12 years old. They would complain of nightmares after they got back home, or weird stuff happening in their homes after they stayed at my house. Over 40 years, the shadows and events have slowed, but sometimes it does get worse. Now, when people say stuff to me about what they thought they heard or saw, I just play it off. But I will always know why they are stating what they see and feel. There are other supernatural experiences I've had in my life, but those are for another time. Joe, I thank you very much for sharing that. And this is something, anytime that a child tells you that they see something, hear something, don't just discount that. Go and investigate it. Be kind to the child, because kid brain does not work the same as adult brain. And kids a lot of times are more able to tap into some of the supernatural, paranormal things than adults do. Adults, a lot of times, it's not that the stuff doesn't happen, it's just that they are so closed off mentally that they refuse to see what's there. That they, it is, they're like, oh, they'll convince themselves that whatever didn't happen, that it was really this or that. They gaslight themselves. I've done it to myself too. So I always believe a kid. I mean, it's okay to go and look and make sure that there's not something under the bed or in the closet or whatever. But to encourage that child, don't make that child afraid. Because when something else happens, then they're not going to come and talk to the parent about it because they know that the parent is going to just not listen to them. Joe, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to other incidences and other stories that you have to share with us. Again, anybody that you know, just spread the word. If you've had a paranormal experience, some kind of supernatural something, just email that to me at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the link, the email address is in the description. You all have a beautiful, blessed day.